girls watching TV shows, and some of it's good and some of it blows. And when we finish the movies, yeah, we need a scotch, and we turn to each other and say, what did we just watch? And we're live.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back, ladies. Was that a peek of the new tat right there?
Yeah, got tatted up, no big deal.
She's just a cool tat girl now.
James tattooed me at Lady Octopus Tattoos in Arlington, and he gave me stickers that said "Tattooed by James Hahn" afterwards.
Thank you, James.
Do you think he made those, created those stickers himself, or do you think someone
for
else
sure. I should have had them right by me. I'm like not really sure what I'm gonna do with them because I'm not gonna I don't know like where to stick them. But like James was super cool and like friendly. It kind of hurt. It hurt a lot though, because I was originally gonna get it on my forearm where there's like more fat and stuff, and James was like, sorry, James was like, yeah, like you could totally get that there, but like if you want to start a sleeve, like you probably don't want it like in the middle of your arm. And I was like, yeah, I was just trying to be chill, like cool.
You're gonna start
girl.
a sleeve?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And so he's like, I think you should put it like closer, like he also didn't like say like this far down. He was like a little farther down. I was like, oh no, that's cool. And then he placed the thing, and it like I thought that this would hurt more, like literally like right here. So when he placed it here, I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like that's not really like. But then
that's like straight on.
Yeah, there's like a bone right there.
It hurt so much.
There's no meat there.
It's not like I would encourage people to like do a wrist because it really like wasn't the end of the world, but I just like was expecting to get like a not hurt like fat tattoo and not like a on the wrist tattoo. So when he was started, I was like, and then he was talking to me, so it was good because I could like fake it till I made it. And he was like, wow, you like did a really good job. Like you barely had any pain. I was like, yeah, you paid it all.
Totally.
There's like tears like coming through on your eye. I can't believe he was like, yeah, you should, if you're getting a sleeve. I don't know. I don't know.
I guess I'm getting a sleeve now.
Did you? I don't know if you like talked more and you were like, yeah, I'm interested in more tattoos. And he was like, that girl wants a sleeve.
I like do want more tattoos, but I like don't think I want a sleeve. But I just like took his word for it. I was like, yeah, no, that
like
makes
maybe
sense.
I'll get one.
Yeah, I really was like, I don't know, sure. And then, well, it's all good because I got my Tattooed by James Hahn stickers. Though I did tell Caitlin and Rishi that I'd give them. I got 2, so they want one, so I'm gonna give them.
They only can get one.
They
if they get
weren't tattooed by him though.
Yeah, so like it doesn't.
But what am I gonna do with 2 Tattooed by James Hahn stickers?
I just don't know.
I
guess we'll have to go get tattooed by James Hahn when we get our matching tattoos.
For sure.
And then
shout out
we can
James.
all have stickers.
You were very nice. But yeah, I'm a cool tattoo. I got a piercing and a tattoo. So some could say I'm a rebel.
Yeah, you're the teacher that the parents are like, no kids, don't look at her. She's a rebel.
What?
Because you know how like
do parents say that?
Is that something that happened?
I don't know. Like maybe in the 50s.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe my parents probably wouldn't say anything. I did realize that, like, when I raise my hand to get my kids' attention, like, that will always be a point of distraction now because it's like it's like right there.
I'm surprised it's not covered up.
It was for the first 2 hours, and then I uncovered it. You're supposed to uncover after the first like 2 or 3 hours, and then you like I cover it up the first when I go to bed. So like I'll cover it up when I go to sleep. And I bought stuff for that, but like you wash it and then put ointment on. This is just turning into a tattoo episode. You wash it and then put ointment on it, and then you like let it air dry. Then you put the ointment, and then later at night I bandage it up again. But I'm only like I really don't have to bandage past the first 2 days. I just like, and it's supposed to like scab and peel. So I'm like, but he said it probably wouldn't be that bad because it's like super small. It felt like. I can't imagine getting a bigger piece like on your wrist.
Can't imagine getting a sleeve. that he wants you to get.
I like low-key was, I don't know why I said it. I was like, yeah, no, that
You're
makes
like, yeah.
sense. He also was like, it's upside down, because I wanted to like look at it and like see like the handwriting. Like I wanted it to like,
You wanted to read it, and he was
yeah,
like,
I wanted to read.
no
He
one
was like,
else
"It's-"
can read it. And
That's
you're
literally
like,
what he said. He's like, it's upside down. You know that, right? Like not in a mean way. He was just like, you know, it's upside down, like the way you want it, right? And I was like, yeah.
it
But
looks
it's
so
like
weird.
it's for
It was like-
you.
yeah, it looks so weird. It was like love mom upside down.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to look at it unless you did this.
Yeah.
Okay,
But he was
I think
really,
that makes
he was
sense.
still really nice. And I just got a tattoo today. I wasn't planning on getting it till like March or April. I told Emily and Kiana this already, but they were like, oh, we're booking for March and April. So it's like, oh, that's like plenty of time to like come to the terms with it. And they're like, we have an opening on a Monday. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll take it. But they were super COVID safe. Like I was the only person there, and they like had me do all the forms before. It was like contactless pay. Like I paid before I came and like tipped online and stuff. So it was super
Oh,
super
cool.
efficient. But
Nice.
yeah, we're
Nice.
cool now. So
You are cool. Before we get off the tattoo topic and onto our actual topic, I have a very serious question. I feel like you guys will have good advice, and then also maybe our listeners will. If I get a tattoo of an elephant, because I love elephants and I always have, and like I have, like you guys know. But anyways, if I do that, will people think that I'm a Republican?
ooh,
No,
I don't think
If
I
it's
don't
like
think. I
as
don't
long
think
as it's not like the shape
The-
of the GOP elephant, you know?
Right,
Right?
right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also don't think Republicans would be the one to be like, I got a tattoo of an elephant.
Yeah,
That's true.
I was gonna say the same
That'd be
thing.
weird.
Like I feel like as long as it's not the GOP elephant, because I feel like lots of people have elephant tattoos and it's like
Yeah.
normal and
I think
fine.
so. Yeah, you're right.
So like I think that if you got that, that'd be chill, but like maybe not. I don't know. Like I feel like it would be different if you got the elephant with like red, white, and like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I
or
feel
like a
that would be.
flag, a star.
Yes.
Like if you make it
Yeah.
like super American, then I feel like people would be like, hello.
Okay. So not an American elephant, just an elephant.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like
I
cool
can do
elephant
that.
patterns that are like geometric, and I'm sure if you do like a cool
That's
geometric
what
or
I've
like a
always
swirly
wanted.
one,
Yes.
people
Those
won't
are cool.
automatically think that
Definitely like a line or minimalist,
yeah.
something like that.
Can't wait to get my avatar tattoo.
Yeah, it's gonna look dope. It's gonna hurt like are you getting it on your back?
I kind of wanted to get it on my ribs, which would hurt even more. So.
Oh my
That's a
god.
good spot though.
I'm like thinking about my pain today and I was like,
The ribs
okay.
would be like even worse. People are like,
I mean,
"Please
like
don't get
do
on
it
your ribs."
though.
I'm
Because like it hurts like a little bit now, but I'm sure it would hurt more on the ribs
because
actually.
I
don't-
like have to breathe and I'd be like, but
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, wait, one more tattoo thing before we move on.
This is a tattoo podcast.
Actually, that's what we're gonna watch Emma get her tattoo. She
I
actually
should have.
videoed.
I should have vlogged. I would never have done that because I was about to talk about the awkward social interaction I had with James, where, I like he like put the like you know how he puts like you put the little, like does like the pen.
The
What is it? The
stencil?
stencil, whatever
The
it is. Like
stencil?
yeah, they put the little like pen stencil on it, and you like check if it looks good, and then if not, they can like clean it off and like move it positions or whatever.
Mhm.
So he put that on. He was like, "Oh, okay." Like I was like, "Oh, this looks good." So he's like, "Okay," but we did that while I was like standing up, and so he's like, "Okay, like sit in the chair so we can like get the tattoo." So like the chair is like long, like this, like a
Mhm.
dentist chair. So I didn't know if he wanted me to sit like these are my legs, right?
Yeah, you
My
didn't want
legs
it.
here or like laying my legs here. So I'm like on this side of the chair and I'm like, so should I just sit like this? Or and he's like, yeah, you sit on it like it's a chair. That's what you do. And I was like, James, please.
I've never done this before, James.
I literally was like, James, I haven't seen anyone outside of my apartment for months. And he's like, yeah, I was like, I forgot how to sit in a chair. And he's like, haha. I played it off okay, but inside I was like really hurt and upset.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're feeding into my social anxiety
I would
by
have
Oh my
actually
cracking a joke at me.
literally would have left and been like, you know what? I can't do this today. And
Hi, sir. I simply can't handle this today. Thank you. but it all ended well, and he was really nice. He was just joking around. Also, he wasn't like it's a chair. He was just like, haha, it's like a chair, so sit on it. But I just took it very personal because that's how I go through things. But anyways,
That's fair.
okay. Should we talk about what we watched?
Yeah.
I guess so.
So this week we watched 2 YouTube videos by Natalie Tran, which is she's also like her her channel, her YouTube channel is called the Community Channel. So she does like kind of just like random awkward moments, montages, and then like you just have to watch it. Look up Community Channel, you'll understand.
I'll put it in the link or the description.
Mm-hmm. So she's one of the like most famous Australian YouTubers around. She took like a very long hiatus for 4 years and just recently posted a new video. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a couple from like 4 years ago. So we're going to talk about awkward photo hands, and we're also going to talk about the waiter pause. Both of them are like 6 minutes or less, so they're not a very long set of videos. Also, I'm gonna give you like a little bit background of the videos, but there's not really much to talk about because it's a lot of like her explaining how she feels because she has social anxiety, and like who doesn't in this political climate, you know? So in Awkward Photo Hands, she talks about well, the title is self-explanatory. She talks about how when she takes pictures, she really doesn't know what to do with her hands. So in the video, she has like an internal monologue where she's like, oh no, I need to put them in my pockets. Oh wait, I don't have any pockets. Maybe I can put them behind my back. Oh wait, I look weird. Maybe I can put my hand on this photo. Oh no, that looks even weirder. And then the other person, because she just like plays everyone. I'm assuming this is just like her playing everyone. And the other person who's taking the photo is like, what the heck are you doing? Just like pose naturally. And she's like, I don't know what to do with my hands, which I think all of us on this podcast can relate to not knowing what to do with our hands
It's very
in
relatable.
photos. So then from there, she does a skit, like a pretend commercial where it's like awkward photo hands kit. And in the kit, you get a pepper shaker, a pen and pencil, a toothbrush and toothpaste, and like, I think there was something else. Oh, a hair dryer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold those items in your hand, and then it won't look awkward. And then the person who's like awkwardly trying to take a photo takes out the pepper shaker, and she like holds it out, and it looks like she's about to like crank it. And then the person taking the photo is like, "Wow, you look amazing," and not awkward at all. So she talks about that, and then she talks about she's always wondered why people throw up like the middle finger, the bird that she says, the bird or gang signs in photos. Do they also not know what to do with their hands? So she does another cut scene where another person is like throwing up the bird, and the person that in the previous cutscene was like, "Hey, why do you throw the bird?" And the other person who was throwing the bird was like, "Yeah, I don't really know what to do with my hands, so I get like really nervous and like throw the bird out." And she's like, "Oh yeah, me too." And the person who throws the bird was like, "I also learned it from the like fancy awkward photos kit because the bag, she pretends like the bag is real and the bag costs like over $5,000." And she's like, "I'll get the like informational video that's super cheap." And the informational video was like, you know what to do with if you don't know what to do with your hands, you could just throw the bird, or you could throw the bird with your hands on your hip, or you can throw up some gang signs. And she just does that, and that's kind of how the video ends. Like, how do you get past the awkward photo hands? You really can't. You just kind of finger gun it away or thumbs up it, in my personal opinion experience.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like, the whole thing was really relatable, but it first and foremost made me I didn't drop it like Kiana.
Like 3 times last week.
Go watch that video because I edited that really funny. Anyways, it made me think of first and foremost the bisexual peace sign, where people just throw up the peace sign all the time.
The peace sign or the
It's
finger.
just the go-to, and that's what it made me think of right away. I think that's my go-to. But then I felt personally attacked by the bird because I do throw up the bird often because it's just like easy. and it's like not too posed, but it's still a pose.
You seem, I feel like also you
Yeah.
seem cooler. Like you don't really care about the photo. You're like,
Well, I
"Here's
am
her."
cool, so.
I mean, you have that tattoo now, so.
No, I agree. I think that it's like a cool pose, but I don't know. I wonder what like sorority. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't generalize, but like I feel like they know a lot of like good hand poses for like single. You know, like
Mhm.
they have like lots of in their arsenal when they're taking pictures. So maybe we should not buy her $5,000 video and defer to one of them and see what they have to say.
Yeah.
We have friends in high places. Yes, you're right.
We do. No, I definitely feel the same way. I feel like it's just always very awkward in my 24 years of life. I have not learned like what to do. So I definitely do the peace sign or like also like hands on like hips or whatever, which just looks like so posed.
Yeah.
But it's like the only thing where like I take a photo with just me and I don't feel like weird. Like I don't feel like I look weird because I don't just otherwise if my arms are just down, I'm like this looks strange. And
Like fish.
it probably doesn't to anybody else, but it does to me. So yeah, I haven't
Right.
figured it out either.
Yeah, like when I studied abroad, I was known for like not being able to like take pictures normally because I just like did not know what to do with my hands. Like they're just like stand, like pose, and I'm like, "Ah, okay,
Oh, you do
okay,"
the-
and then
you have,
like
like,
I did
a-
like a thumbs up hunchback, and they're like, yeah, I did
That's-
also like that. They're like, Kiana, just pose naturally, and I'm like, so
Don't
it
be
became,
insane.
so it became like a thing, like anytime, because of the first 2 times I did it on purpose. I mean, like, I was just like, I don't know what to do. I'm really stressed out and nervous. And then after that, they were like, come on, do your signature Kiana pose, which is like hunchback, thumbs up. And I was like, okay. And that just became my thing. So
I love that. It is it has spread past study abroad too. Like we know now the signature Kiana pose.
Yes.
So like I feel like you've circumnavigated the awkward photo hands by being awkward and then simultaneously finding your awkward photo, not your awkward photo, but like your photo pose in that journey. And now you've arrived at like maybe it's awkward, but it's also like true to you and it's like has personality and like now you're comfortable with it.
It's like normalized to the point where anyone's like, come on, take your photo. And if I do it, they're not like, what are you doing? They're like,
exactly. Yeah, like it's just expected now, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had a signature pose. Maybe I should. That can be my 2021 resolution.
Resolution. Trying to figure out.
So come
Although
up with
I
a
feel like
signature
I
pose.
have taken very few photos in the last year.
Fair.
Don't even
The
get me started.
pandemic. So I guess I'll have to get started.
The other thing the video talked about, which I felt I was interested by, was like how she was like, oh, in group photos, like it's not a problem because I can just like hide my hands and like do other stuff. But I had beef because when we take our group photos, because we're all in a friend
I
group,
knew
but
you
we
were
have
gonna
other
bring this
friends.
up.
Everyone it's a fight for the middle. It's never, no one wants to be on
For
the
this
end.
exact reason.
Yeah.
I know, for this exact reason. That's why I brought it up. It's just, and somehow I'm always on the end. I never make it to the middle. And eventually, like Kiana, I feel like Kiana and I
I'm
are like
always on the end too.
are the quickest to like give up and like admit that we don't want, that we'll just be on the end so that we can take the photo.
But I always have to be on the end on the right side because I actually have a good side. So I'm like, I have to be on this right side. And everyone's like, Kiana, just take the photo. And I'm like, okay.
See, I'm used to being in the middle because of family photos, because I have 2 brothers who are like my only siblings and they're both significantly taller than me. One is significantly taller than the other, but they're both significantly taller than me. And so a photo looks really strange if I'm on the end because it's just like and it looks better if I'm in the middle because it's more
But we're not your
balanced
brothers.
and
We're not your
symmetrical.
brothers.
So
We're all the same
I've
height
gotten
as
used
well.
to it. And well, that's not true if everyone's in the photo.
We're around
all
the
the
same
same
height.
We're
height if
close to the
us.
same height, Emily.
And
What
when
I'm
you can take the
saying
edge
is that
just a couple of times. That's
I've
all we're
gotten
saying.
used to
Yeah,
a
that's
certain I've gotten used to a certain type of life, you know, and that's
my
being
God.
in the middle in photos.
I'm gonna insert
you
all of our
guys-
group photos here and highlight where Emily's in the
Where
middle
I'm in the
because I'm
middle,
sure
yeah.
I have like a
It's
million.
most times.
Here's your 2021 resolution is whenever we are able to get together
Okay.
again when it's safe, you'll have to be on the end.
Okay, I promise.
You have to
I
be on the
promise
end
that
and you have to figure out your awkward photo pose.
Yeah.
as,
That
as
is it.
soon
Because
as
I'm
that
bound to
is-
I'm bound to the hip when I'm on the end. Because that's all
The
you can
hip-
do.
But I always do the hip and it's like too far in and like my boobs look weird and I'm like, oh God, why didn't anyone pose me correctly before this? And you guys are like, you look fine, but I could just see myself and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ugh, well, sorry I had to bring that up. What if the whole reason
I
we
was
did this
waiting for
video
it.
was like an intervention? We were like, Emily, you've been posing
I don't
too
even
long.
talk about I haven't even talk about the second one. I would just like keep going in on
I
Emily.
promise you guys can show me the receipts when I am finally
The thing
when I finally have a
is-
vaccine in my arm and I'm able to come to DC. You can show me the receipts and we will take a photo.
Not to
gonna
gang up
put
on
them in the
Emily,
video.
but it's crazy because we have we have tall friends, but it's crazy how they never are on the end.
Right?
Like we have friends that are taller than Emily, so like
This
We
is
have
not just it's not
I'm
just an
the
Emily
least-
call out. It's not just an Emily call out because our friend, I'm gonna call them out right here. I know they don't listen, so it doesn't matter. Caitlin and Caitlin's not tall, but Kareen,
Rachel?
Caitlin's shorter than me.
Rachel, y'all are never on the end. That's right. I said it.
Oh
And I'm
my
sure you guys
gosh.
actually do listen, so that's why I'll pay for it when it comes. But
This will be
saying.
the test to see if they listen.
Maybe we
No one tell them we talked about them. Because if they listen, they'll know and they'll tell us.
To be fair, our photos do always look really good, even when Kiana and I or whoever have to take the ends, so it ends up being fine. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were in the end for our graduation photo.
I was on the end for the lake photo for sure.
Which
I was on the
one?
end for the Halloween photo for sure. Last year, I know. I have them ready. Like they're ready to be put.
I don't remember, but I believe that I've never been on the end. Like maybe at one
I
point.
definitely think
but-
Emma has been on the end more than I have, but I've also have been on the end quite a bit.
Okay, so when we take this photo where I'm on the end, I guess Kiana
Because
is
anytime
bound
we
to be
take
on the
our
other
trio
end.
photo, Emily's always in the middle. And
middle.
I'm always like, why can't I be in the middle once or twice?
You don't fight for it.
I don't really know what to say to that. I'm gonna move on to a different topic so we don't end up the pod hating each other. One last thing
Whatever.
on the photo, the photo hands, or two things. Speaking of going back to hands on hip, like I would always like when I would ask my mom to take pictures of me, like in the backyard or like when I was in high school or whatever, like if they take, like oh, take a picture of me, like I look good here or whatever. I'd always like go for the hands on the hips, and she's like, you look like way too formal, like that is, you look insane, like put your hands down. And I was like, I don't think it's that, like I feel like hands on hip is a common enough pose where it's not like insane that I like chose to do that. I was
It's
like,
my go-to.
it feels pretty normal to me, but ever since she's like, I feel like that was drilled into my head, and now I'm like, hands on hips, don't be insane. I
You do
can't
both
that.
hands on hips or like one hand on hip, one
Oh.
hand just hanging like a dead fish.
I do both hands on hips.
Yeah,
Like
I feel
power
like
pose.
I do both.
Yeah.
I always feel weird when I do it, but like I don't know what else to do. So
Right,
like I
like, it
have the
looks
same
good.
thall that you
Yeah.
have, but
My hands are
don't know
just
what else
always
to
up in the
do.
air. Like always up in the air, no care in the world. Like let's party. It's never down on it is never like normally like next to I'm like
Wait, pause. Hands up in the air, not in the world. Let's party. Kiana Wilkerson. I mean, it's true.
yeah, it is very on brand for me. Okay, so moving on to the next video. So the next YouTube video we watched was the waiter pause. Which is kind of something that when I first watched this video, because I'm the only one who really like knew about this YouTube channel and this YouTuber beforehand. So I was the one that suggests, hey, maybe we should do this. But when I watched the first time, I was definitely like, do I do that? And the waiter pause is basically when the waiter comes to take your food or like refill drinks or take things away. Do you stop your conversation and just like wait for them to finish, or do you continue? And basically this video is talking about like some people are stopped because this is a very private moment and they don't really want to like talk about whatever is going on. And like she does like a skit or the two people sitting there talking about whatever, and the waiter comes to pour some water, there's a pause, and then the girl finishes her story, and the other girl, her friend, is like, that was the worst story I've ever heard, why did you pause in the middle of that?
It was like her sunglasses were on her head and she didn't know where they were, right?
Yeah. And she was like, and then I realized they were on my head, and she was like, that's the worst story I've ever heard. You wasted all of our time. So then the other friend, the friend who said that's the worst story I've ever heard, is like, why do you pause during when the waiter comes? Like, if I feel like it's a little rude because, you know, you want to acknowledge them, and like I say thank you to acknowledge them and let them know that they're like an actual human being that's there and not like a weird ghost that just like kind of lingers.
Ooh, here's your water.
So then the skit continues where well then the girl's like, oh, I wanted some privacy. So then the skit continues and the girl's like, I'm actually like a secret agent and I know where this hidden treasure is. And then the waiter comes in and the waiter looks suspicious, and they like the waiter bugs the bottom of the table and then tries to listen, and then she's speaking French. I don't know if it's like actually like correct French.
It seemed correct.
I know she said yes, right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. And then another waiter comes and she's like, hey, how's it going? And kills the first waiter, and it comes back to the table and is like, hey, can you repeat all the stuff that you just said? And then they're like, you're a spy, and then the other waiter is like, no, you're a spy. It's like a whole thing. Anyway,
So that's the case for not talking when the waiter is there because they
might be a spy.
right?
They might be a spy.
And they want your treasure.
It's possible.
You never know.
But yeah, so and then she talks about how if she was a waiter, how she would like control the situation by just going like doing things while people are trying to talk constantly. And these are the people who like stop when the waiter comes, not people who like continue to talk. So this man is trying to propose to his girlfriend, and she comes in to like, the waiter comes in to pour the drinks, and he's like, okay. And he's like, wow, I feel so connected to you. Hey, I want you to, and then she comes in to like give bread, and he's like, okay, thanks. And then he's like, okay, I'm sorry for the interruption. And then she comes in to give him forks, utensils. And he's like, why are you keep coming? She's like, she's being like catty and sassy. But that's basically what the waiter pause is, which is also something that, again, made me think about, do I like stop talking when waiters/waitresses come to take orders and stuff? But yeah, you have watched the video. It's funny.
It's
funny.
good. It's very good. I feel like it depended on who I was with or like what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I agree with when she was like, or the one person in the skit was like, I think it's like rude not to acknowledge them. Like I'm always like, oh, thank you or whatever when the waiter comes over. But I feel like on dates more often than not, we would pause. I don't know why. Like I was thinking about it after we watched and I was like, I feel like that's the only time I can think of, because there have been like notable waiter pauses when I've been on dates where I'm like,
I feel like that makes sense though. Is it just like the element of awkwardness that's already, I'm assuming we're talking about like a first date or like you're not.
No, I just feel like any dates, like in relationships, like I haven't gone on that many first dates. So it's like if like me and my ex were like out at dinner or whatever, or like wherever we were, if someone came over, we just like, oh yeah, thank you. And then like pause what we were talking about.
Interesting.
And yeah, so I feel like that's the only time. But if I was with my mom, I'd be like, blah, like we would just talk through it. Or like you guys, I feel like we've eaten together plenty of times, and I can't pull in my brain if we've done it or not.
I definitely think
know.
we're one of the people who would be like, we're talking, and then the waiter comes in, and we're like, oh, thank you, and then we just like continue to talk. Like,
Yeah.
Because
definitely think
I
we
guess.
acknowledge.
Oh,
them.
sorry.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say, I guess to clarify, like this would only be like when they were coming over, literally just to like refill water or like something like that, like where they weren't like coming over to talk to us or take our order, because obviously then like there's no question, but like that you would just obviously stop talking. But like, yeah, I feel like when they were just coming over to like refill water is the example like they did in the video. Like, yeah, I feel like if I'm looking back, we would just say, oh yeah, thank you, and then continue our conversation, which seems like the most normal thing to do, because then you're both not just like ignoring them, but also not like pausing as though their presence is like annoying
disturbs
to you. Because I would hate that if I was a waiter.
Yeah.
I should ask Donovan, because he like did a little bit.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
But also
he
he did more busting than actual like, but he did hand out food.
Okay.
And stuff, but I think food is a little different.
Yeah, when I was a waiter, it was definitely a mix. Like I feel like it was probably like 50-50 with people who talked and people who didn't. But it was never like I think the other thing is like, it might just be a social anxiety thing, but it also just is, I feel like, is a human thing. We assume people care about everything we do and say, and now that I'm thinking about like being a waiter, I didn't give two shits about like what they were talking about. I was just like, I'm just like here to fill this up and like go about my day. Like I didn't ever like, I wasn't like, ooh, like what's
unless
the
they
tea?
were talking about buried treasure, then you're
but no one was talking about buried treasure, unfortunately.
Never experienced that.
So I didn't have a chance to steal it, but I feel like I just didn't care.
I feel the same way. And I feel like you get that, like, I don't know, context from just like working service jobs yourself. You're like, wait, when I did this, I didn't care. Like I personally haven't waited tables, but I've worked like multiple like food service jobs. So like similar thing where I don't know if people I feel like have the same like tendency to like, I don't know, be a certain way, and I'm just like, I don't care like what you do. Like I just want to like do my job. I don't know.
Right. Like unless they're like if you were yelling at me, I would remember, you know what I mean? Like if you were a bad customer, then I remember you. But if you're like talking about like the sex, like, you know, if you're talking about like something that's like a little raunchy or like whatever, like I don't remember it. Like I don't care unless you're like being mean to me. But then when you flip it like to you, you're like, but when it's me, it matters. They're listening.
Yeah. We like to think we're the main character, you know?
We are the main character of our own lives.
Well, that's true.
I guess that's true.
But yeah, like it's weird because I definitely think it depends on the topic, because if I'm like telling a secret, I would definitely be like, but like I don't know why I would be telling secrets in the middle of like a Red Robin, because that's like what, or like a Noodles company. Yeah. No, when we ate with Noodles and Company, the guy
we spilled at Noodles and Company.
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking about it like Noodles and Company, the man would sometimes come over and like take our plates, and we'd be like, thanks, and but then like continue to just like talk about how our philosophy professor was insane.
I miss Noodles and Company so much.
I want Noodles and Company so bad.
I miss Noodles and Company's food, but I mostly just miss the fact that we, despite the fact that we every week said we're not going to go to Noodles and Company, after philosophy class, without fail, went to Noodles and Company.
Thursday, and it was insane because Tuesday we had like a 5 p.m. dinner, and we would just like gorge ourselves on Noodles and Company and be like, oh, time for 5 p.m. dinner.
We were like, oh, we have to go. It was like an APO thing, right? And we like had to go to not be rude. Like we should go because we're on exec, and so we would always go and like not eat a meal because we just went to Noodles and Company
every week. Spent hundreds and hundreds to the point where they knew
we didn't like
they knew us.
We didn't have the money for Noodles and Company on a weekly basis.
For context, we like had we all went to college together. We had a philosophy class Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was like right at the time where it was like
It's like
4-ish.
No, it was 12:30 to like 2.
No,
It was like
no, it was later. I thought
No,
we'd
I
be
think
there
it
at,
was
like
12:30
3:30 or something.
Oh, maybe we.
Might
I
have
know
ended
it
at
was like.
3:30.
I know it was like.
Because it was closer to APO meeting.
I think it was like 3:30 because our excuse for it was always like, well, we don't have time to get anything done. Like we
And
can't
then
like
we
go
all-
to the library.
okay.
So
But
we would-
also,
Yeah. Anyways, we
could
would
not
go
eat
get
dinner. I mean, we didn't have time for lunch beforehand because it was like
Right.
in the middle of lunch.
right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because we had a class before. I know I had a class before.
I had multiple
Yeah.
classes before.
So anyways, we would go to Noodles and Company almost every week, at least once a week, maybe twice a week. I remember like feeling betrayed when one of us didn't want to go. I was like, huh? It's like, I really can't go this week. Like I have to do this. And I'm like, excuse me. But we spilled in Noodles and Company and the waiter didn't, and it was like an empty
They didn't
restaurant. We were
care.
like
Yeah, we
full
were-
blast.
Like, oh my god, did you hear about what we did this crazy? Like we would talk about our exes really loudly and be like, what were they? And yeah, or we
Yeah,
talk about like
they
APO
didn't care.
stuff and we'd be like,
So maybe maybe the waiter pause is just a product of everyone thinking they're the main character and thinking
I
that
think so.
everything we say has like so much worth that. But like, I think that's natural. I think that everyone does that. So
it definitely is. I think the key though to avoid the social anxiety that produces the waiter pause is just to remember that other people probably don't care.
yeah.
yeah.
Or like waiters are
important
just trying to
lesson.
do their job.
Yeah, they're just trying to live life. The one thing I will say is that I think I've paused more when like in a skit where she was like joking at the end and like coming in every 5 seconds. Like waiters do that sometimes. I feel like that's when I pause because you literally don't have time to like get your story out before the waiter has returned which is like great and I appreciate the attentiveness. But it's like then I'm like more likely to pause because they're like coming. I'm like, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Because they come so often.
Yeah, there's sometimes when waiter comes like a little bit too much, and you're like, they like come to top you off again. And you're like, you just came like 5 minutes ago. Like I hadn't drunk any of this lemonade. Like you don't have to like come and try to refill a little bit. And they're like, okay, are you having a nice time? You're like, yeah, I'm still eating the same 2 fries that I was eating before. The one that when we were allowed to go out before the pandemic,
Back in the day.
I went to an archaeology conference and then I visited Emily in Boston, and we had like a waiter experience where I was literally still in the middle of eating and then she was like, are you done with that? And I was just like, and she just took it away from me and then I was like, oh, that was the best like food I've ever tasted. But sure, just take it away from me.
Bye. There it goes.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Great brunch.
I feel like this was a good, like, I really like her channel. I'm surprised I'd never heard of her.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's kind of cool because, like, you can think alone about, like, I like how she depicts this. Oh, I guess I'll go give my rating. I give it a 10. I think it's really funny. I think it's,
10
I
out of
like how, 10 out of 10, Emily on the end of the photos, or middle of the photos.
I want all the 10s to just be different photos of Emily.
Perfect.
I'm sure you can find 10.
So yeah, I like how she produces it. I think it's funny how she acts in
Mhm.
multiple roles. And like it's really well written and it's funny. It's the kind of humor where it's like it's not offensive. Like I feel like a lot of times when people try to do like comedy that points on like social things, oh my god, I almost pulled another when comedy tries to like when people try to do social things sometimes and comment on those, comedians can be like overly offensive and like their remarks and like what they're noticing about people and like kind of dumb it down to that. And I feel like she does a good job of not doing that and still making it like really interesting and funny and also like thought-provoking. I probably wouldn't watch it like mindlessly. I don't think I could just, maybe I could, but like it's kind of like fun. I would like I probably would like watch these and then text my friends after and like see what they thought about it. So I think that's worthy of something. So I give it a 10.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with everything you said. I think it's like it's a really interesting and yeah, funny without being like offensive. And it's just I like the way that she does the characters and films it like as all of the different characters. I think that's really smart, like, the way she does that. And obviously takes a good amount of effort too, thinking about how sometimes there's like
Yeah.
4 of her on the screen and like how long that takes. So there's definitely a lot of effort that goes into like writing it and filming it. So yeah, I think she does a good job, and I think all of the content is just very like funny and relatable. So I will also give it 10 pepper grinders in the hands kit out of 10.
I
I don't
love it.
remember what the kit was called, but it had a pepper grinder.
It did.
Yeah, well, I'm the one that recommended this video, but I was first exposed to this video by our dear friend Rachel Blanco. I think it was
Oh.
sometime in
Aw.
freshman year, where we were probably hanging out and she was probably watching this, and I was like, "What are you watching?" And then we would just like watch it together. But yeah, I think she's very funny. I think that it's not like highbrow humor, but it's definitely like I wouldn't say it's like one-liners, but there are definitely like zinger moments where you're like, yes, you're supposed to like laugh at this part, or like you're supposed to laugh at this part. But I always do, so it works. It's not like a horrible one-liner comedian show that we went to freshman year that we will not name names. um, but yeah, so I definitely would. I would watch this. I think I watched this at least a couple of the videos like repeatedly back to back. So it's definitely like sometimes, definitely in freshman year where I tried to avoid work at all costs. I would mindlessly watch these videos. So yeah, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I feel like because should I do from the later video or should I do it from? I think I relate more to the awkward fish hands, so I'm gonna do a 10 out of 10 awkward fish hands.
I love that.
But yeah, so
Awesome.
check it out. Check out her.
Yeah. We'll link her in the description and stuff so you guys can go give her a watch. And she's returned to YouTube now, so I'm sure she'll be putting out some content. She put out a funny Christmas list video that we watched too. We didn't talk about it, but it's really good. I feel like it carries the humor over too.
Yeah.
For being gone for 4 years, like she did a really good job with that. So yeah, okay. Follow us on Insta
and Twitter.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Maybe share our content.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
If you feel like it.
Yeah. We're getting pretty close to 1,000 views on a Princess for Christmas. So I don't know if you guys want to be the ones that push us over the edge, but that would be lit.
Really cool. So,
but yeah, thank you for listening.
And this is
what did we
just watch?